Hey, everybody, I'm Alana. This is Milano, and this is Bare Naked Moms. Today, we're talking about the battle with infertility that so many of us may have gone through in order to become moms. Our guest is author Amy Gallo Ryan, whose recent memoir, You May Feel a Bit of Pressure, portrays so beautifully and brilliantly, I might add, the emotional, physical, mental roller coaster of trying to start a family when your body and nature will just not cooperate.
Yeah, Amy's book is about her struggle with infertility. But in case, listener, you're thinking, okay, well, I don't know anything about infertility. That wasn't my experience. I'll catch the next episode of Bare Naked Moms. Stop, hold on, and stay with us. Because what I love about Amy's memoir is that it's not just about the specific thing, which is, in this case, infertility. It's about the universal feelings that I think have bubbled up in all of us when we so desperately want something and there's no reason we can't have it. And we put all our energy, our time, our money, all of our resources into getting this thing, into turning it into a reality for us. And it just won't. And what do you do with that?
It's such a personal and moving conversation. I got a lot out of it. Without further ado, here is Amy Gallo Ryan.
Well, Amy Gallo Ryan, welcome to Bare Naked Moms.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, we are too. I am thinking around like page 200, maybe 2/3 of the way through this book, as you're gearing up for your 6th round of IVF. I wanted to jump in the book and shake you and say, come on, Amy, like, there are other ways to do this. There are other ways. It doesn't have to be this hell, this, it's like my pain and suffering threshold had been met. But yours hadn't. And you talk about, the alternatives to IVF, being surrogacy and adoption. And you talk about like when people suggested this in real life, what your response was to that. And I wondered if you could talk about your perspective on those alternatives at that point when you were so against it, and then also kind of how it shifted and why.
So I think for me, because my infertility was unexplained, and that was really challenging mentally, because there was nothing anybody could point to explain to me why this was happening. And so because there was no explanation, it just seemed like it was a matter of time. There was nothing tangible to hold on to and say, this is why. And not being able to understand it was, really like drove me mad, like to your point of like wanting to shake me. But like our doctors were so convinced it would work. We were so young. And I think all of those factors, it was just like, we just have to keep going. We just have to keep going. We just have to keep going. And then like, as we got towards the end, and I did start to kind of like grasp our situation differently, that, we really might walk away empty-handed. I think at that point, the door cracked open a tiny bit and I was willing to see other possibilities. But I felt like I needed to mourn the experience, like grieve the loss of this dream of being able to get pregnant and carry my own child. I didn't want to sort of bring all of that heaviness into whatever it was that was going to come next. Because I felt like that, I didn't want something new to be born from a place of such heaviness and grief.
I understand what you mean by the mystery of your infertility, just keeping the journey going. It's because if you had something to point to, then it would have been so much easier to make a decision one way or another. We had unexplained miscarriages in our journey, and I did all of the things to try and figure out. We were sending cells to labs, to see if they could trace some genetic situation, and they never could. And the mystery was almost the worst part of it. Aside obviously from the loss of babies, just that feeling that like we didn't know what was causing it and whether we would ever be able to remedy the situation. And that mystery aspect just carries its own weight.
Totally. And for me, it like really brought out this kind of like obsessive, I was going to solve it. And I think there's also this kind of, it's science, it's medicine. There's this feeling that like, there must be answers, like even
Yes.
like the diagnosis of unexplained infertility just felt like, I was like, that's like outrageous, that's outrageous.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
it doesn't compute.
Right.
Like what year are we in?
It
Like
doesn't
what year are
compute,
we in?
yes.
Like how has the
you
medical
don't have
world
answers?
not
Yes.
figured this out yet?
Exactly. This brings me, so I loved this part of the book, which is very close to the end, which actually kind of pump fakes, like you kind of do a pump fake, like this is the end. Okay. And I also at that point wanted to jump in and jump into the book and shake you and say, no, I need answers. I need to know what happens. And you say basically like, I know, like you're talking to the reader. I know you want to know what actually happened, right? The actual, but it's not about that. So why did you do that? What, if it wasn't about this thing, like I want to have children and I either did or didn't, right? Because that is kind of a large part of what it's about. Then what is it about? And what was this story about for you?
So when I was in the middle of infertility, I just felt like all of the books that were available to me sort of led with outcome. This is a surrogacy story. I traveled internationally for sort of like really progressive treatments in this other country. And, they were defined by their outcome. But when you're in it, you don't know what your outcome is. You don't know what story you're living, and I felt that uncertainty is what defines the experience and what makes it so hard. And so I just wanted to acknowledge like the weight of that. And that like, of course it's about the outcome. That's, you're in it for the baby and the things you put yourself through to get there. But I think part of what makes it so hard is that you're doing all of that without a guarantee. And just adding that in, I felt like also when I was in the middle of infertility, I felt such a lack of control. I had no control. I could make choices and I made the choices I did for better or worse, but I was robbed of so much control over my body and my life. And I felt like in that moment, in this interlude, like just giving a woman who might be in that position now, like a small thing that she can control, like she can control whether she keeps reading or not. Like,
I love that.
I think that really matters.
Yeah.
And with such care.
You talk about what you were and weren't getting from what you could find to read during this period. Can we talk about what you were and weren't getting from loved ones in your life? What did people do that you felt really gave you support? And what did very well-meaning people perhaps not do as well?
So, when like I was we had been trying for a year, and when I was just starting kind of like the Clomid medication route, I was still 32. You know, I was so young. Oh my
So
God.
young.
And like, I think that, you know, it was still like your friends are getting married, people are starting to have babies, like, and nobody else was experiencing what I was experiencing. So I think none of us had the language. I didn't have the language. You know, first of all, I think the language like doesn't really exist. You know, it doesn't exist. And, but we certainly were not equipped to be, like,
There for each
yes,
other.
and just getting to the heart of what it was. And I didn't even really know what it was. You know,
Or probably what you needed to hear. But you definitely knew what, when something was said, when it wasn't right, and how, you know, when it landed wrong, that was clear. But you probably didn't even know like what to tell people to give you.
No, and what I, you know, even like what I would express was a sanitized surface level, you know, telling of what, because I think like we're not, or I certainly wasn't able to give a casual update on where we were and what was happening. You know, it was like the nuts and bolts of like, this is where, like, we're doing this type of treatment and they think it's going to work. And, you know, I think because I never saw it coming. I let people in unsuspectingly because you know, we were trying for a baby like everybody else was trying for a baby. And so like, I invited so many people in because I thought it was going to be easy. And so then I had you know, I think a lot of people like, don't tell anybody. And, I had told people all the way back when we were just starting, you know, to try.
Right. You're like, we're trying to get pregnant. Yeah.
And same with me. I did the same thing. I didn't have the challenges.
Yeah,
I did the exact same thing
until we started having miscarriages, and it really is it was the absolute worst to have to tell people. But in retrospect, now that I think about it, like maybe that made it a little healthier because at least I wasn't like living in secrecy with it. But it was so terrible to have to give people that update.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not pregnant anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone in like my universe, we used to be better friends, and we moved to different places, et cetera. So we've lost track. But I didn't even realize she was pregnant, and she went on Instagram, and there's a picture of her holding, you know, this unborn, or I can't remember exactly like the composition of the picture, but it was
Clear that it was
a loss of a baby picture. I can't remember if what the circumstances around it were, but it was, I think, a little more than a miscarriage, but for all intents and purposes a miscarriage. And she was like, and she laid it all out in this Instagram story, you know, caption. And my instinct, of course, not having gone through any of this, was, wow, that's kind of personal. But you know what it was? She just wanted to do it once.
Yeah.
You know, she just was like, here's the whole story. I'm going to control the narrative. I only want to express this once. Boom.
Yeah.
And I totally get that.
Yeah.
I totally do.
It's a silver lining of social media that you can kind of like release your own press release.
Yeah. Yeah. You say, at the end, you have a baby girl, Hazel, and you say, it totally struck me that this little baby, you know, who's like the size of a football, has all the eggs she'll ever have. And you're like looking at her and you're like, are they good? Are they bad? Are some genetically not good? Like, how, you know, what is your journey going to be, little baby, if you decide to have kids? And so if that baby Hazel, you know, your baby, if she goes through some of the challenges that you went through, what are you going to say to her? What are you going to do for her?
I mean, I do. So Hazel turned 10 last week. And I do feel like even in the 10 years of her life, the conversation has expanded in a way that feels so necessary and important. And I can only hope that throughout her lifetime, that it continues in that direction. And just these sort of like, which you two are doing with your podcast, like that, like women's stories are told, shared, given space. Because I think we all like have some important thing to contribute to that conversation. So I think, because for me, like, it was just truly the loneliest time of my life. And, you know, I think there's a couple of instances in the book where I'm, you know, go to the, like, you're in the waiting room, there's a trillion people there with you. Like, on a certain level, your brain understands that so many people are experiencing the same thing as you. But if we're not talking about it, then what the fuck are we doing? Like, what is, you know, like, how can we, why are we all allowing each other to be lonely and to like suffer the same things, but so siloed from each other? Even like in the like little tiny nook where we would go before a retrieval, which was like, I mean, 3 seats, and you would be like in your little gown, face to face across from each other. Like, we maybe would give a half smile, but we would not speak to each other. And like, you know, that is a profoundly vulnerable moment. And like, you don't know what somebody needs in that moment. I guess I didn't necessarily want to talk in that moment or make a new friend in that moment, but here is somebody right up in my face who is in as much pain as I am. And then we go home and cry in our little apartments alone, you know?
And also just, I think as a culture, even since the 3 of us have all become mothers, these conversations are happening more, to Amy's point.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the menopause conversation has exploded.
Totally.
And I do, like, I feel like
it's awesome.
There has been a very robust surface level conversation around IVF. Like, we're all very comfortable with the idea that people are doing it and it's very common and so many people and blah, blah, blah. Like, but all very sort of like right at this level. And then my point is that, like, underneath that, for miles and miles and miles, there is like trauma and suffering and things happening that affects people's lives and identities in a really like profound way. And that is what I'm interested in talking about and what I have tried to do with my book.
Yeah, that's the perfect lead into a question that I have for you. There are so many layers of experience that bring us all to our own versions of motherhood. How would you say that this journey affected the mother that you are now? And you can start maybe just with the early days, with the baby days. I read a beautiful essay you wrote just about like your memories of those first days with baby Hazel. And your one of the things you wrote was, I found the role of being her mom easy to claim back then, even if the idea of being a mom continued to feel like a distant half-truth.
The experience of infertility, you know, if you're, the best case scenario is that you wind up with a baby, you know, on the other side of it. But then you're sort of thrust into the realm of motherhood, which is incredibly all-encompassing and identity shifting. I just finished the book Matrescence. I don't know if either of you have read that, but it was really fascinating about, you know, like the only other time in a life that like is as enormous of a like mental, emotional, physical change is adolescence. And, you know, so becoming a mother just as this, like, really it literally changes your brain. And So it just, I think I'm really interested in the intersection of infertility and motherhood and what that looks like and what that means. It was, I spent so many years in that essay I wrote about, observing mothers from afar, and they were the thing that I wasn't, and feeling very much outside of that. And then once I had a baby, trying to figure out where I belonged. And I think Hazel and I would my mother-in-law used to, once she was born, she was like, you just hold her all the time. Like, you're just always holding her. And it was really like, she and I. Like, I was not like in a mommy group. I didn't know how to get from where I had been to, I don't know, to a place that she and I would fit in. Yeah.
It makes so much sense.
Is it safe to, it sounds like imposter syndrome that you're talking about.
Yes.
Would you call yourself? So it sounds like when you were with Hazel, like, she was the only person who you thought wouldn't call bullshit on you.
Yeah.
She's like, you're my mom. That's true.
That's right.
Whereas this thing inside of you made you feel like everyone else would see.
Well, I think there's
which see what, but like,
there's
yes.
the construct of motherhood, and then there's the job of motherhood. So I was like, I showed up to my job and I loved my job, and I had wanted that job. I busted my ass to get that job, and it was, but motherhood in the world as this this thing. Maybe that's my own, all of my insecurities from not being able to become a mom for so long, but that's how I saw it. It became this built up thing. I would look at your podcast and I would say, that's something that I'm not a part of, it was or on Mother's Day when people are posting their posts about their children and it just felt like I was not welcome in this realm that was metastasizing, in the world. It felt like that, it's a category of being. Yeah. And
I was just going to say that all this timing exactly coincided with the whole, the growth of the turbo parenting, mommy
movement.
I think someone trying to make a surface analysis of someone who'd gone through a really tough infertility journey might say that once the baby came along, she probably doesn't sweat the small stuff. This kid isn't learning to tie her shoes. Who cares? We have a human being here, and that's all that's important. Is that true? Are there ways that you see that how tough it was to get here affect how you handle the day-to-day life with your kids?
I wish I had that lens, and I lose my no. I'm no.
Yeah. You're tie your damn shoes, kid.
Do you yell?
Oh my God. I'm such a yeller. I'm such a door slammer, which is so embarrassing. And I was a door slammer as a kid. And now I'm I can't be a door slammer as a mom. That's just so hideous. But I am.
But it's okay. It's okay because you know what?
It's strangely
effective. You know what? They
effective.
won't be door slammers because they'll be like, my mom is a door slammer.
That's true.
They're going to be like, please don't yell because my mother yelled. And so it's all fine. We can't control this no matter how much we try.
Yeah.
Yes. The DNA of door slamming is just deep in my genetic makeup. Parenting and being a mother is unbelievably challenging, and that in no way undercuts or how infertility and the struggle to get to parenthood is unbelievably it's both things are true. I remember in the midst of infertility, I went to go meet somebody's new baby, And she was like talking about like I can't remember if I at that point had gotten pregnant yet or not. But she was like, she said something like, and you know, you haven't even gotten to the hard part, implying that
Ugh, I hate
the
that.
parenthood, you know, just you wait, you know, and that's just, I'm just here to say that is just absolutely not true. Infertility was the most difficult time in my life.
Yeah.
And it isn't making parenthood less hard, but like, I don't know. It's just its own,
Yeah.
yeah.
Chapter.
So much of your story is homage to custom and customizable motherhood, right? You be the mom that you are. And everyone in their role as mom is limited, right? I think we can all agree, like, even if you have the best mom in the world who's like so amazing in all these categories over here, like there's some kind of limitation in another way. And I think what's so beautiful about your memoir is that you say, you know, all is welcome, you know, you do you. And because you are doing you as the mom that
Yeah.
you are. And it didn't fit into this mold or that mold. And if anything, I think it's kind of a love letter. I mean, I'm sure you didn't mean it this way, but I think we can reframe it. Okay, I'm going to help you out.
that. Yeah.
I'm going to help you out, Amy.
Or rebrands.
Let's rebrand this. No, I think that you're actually maybe unwittingly saying, hey, you are the mom that you are,
Yes.
you know, and be that mom. And we'll truck
Yes.
on.
Yes. I think that's right.
Can we talk about the effect that what going through a journey like this has on a marriage?
It is an absolute pressure cooker. And I think it's a unique situation in that you're both experiencing the same situation, but on sort of parallel tracks, you know, like,
Right. Because it's your
yes,
body.
you know, like I think if it's your body, it's your collective, you know, desire and this path that you're on trying to have a baby. But I don't know. I think it affected both of us differently and at different times. You know, like I think it's sort of like this mutual scenario, but like can send you in different directions. And so I think like that trying to take care of each other as you both
Right.
process and experience it differently. I don't know, like you're in it together, but you're in it alone as well a little bit.
I feel like you, I'm totally speculating, but that you wouldn't have anything in the tank to help take care of this other person, right? Like you're both sort of depleted and running on empty in your own ways, that it's just kind of like head down and every man for himself.
I think, I mean, a lot of times because it was my body and my, you know, my like legwork, a lot of it, you know, you're doing the research and kind of navigating the options. And so I think a lot of it was like him supporting me, but then, you know, in the book, in this one period that like he just got really, really down. And then immediately I sort of like came alive and was like, okay, now I need to support him. I don't know, like it, that like push pull of like, you're never both at 50, but like if someone's at 70, the other person only has to do 30, and then you pull back and you're doing 70 and they're doing 30. Like it's, as long as you get to 100, I think it's a shifting, who's giving how much and what looks different at many different points along the way. I think as long as we were united on like the plan and what we wanted to do and what we were willing to do. And that, thankfully, we were,
Right. Imagine one person's like,
yes,
what,
exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
I really love, I got choked up when you said to him, when it was looking really grim, I don't know what round this was, maybe six, something like that. Sixth round, fifth round. And you were like, look, like, I'm so sorry that I'm not doing this for you. I know how badly you want a child. And like, I completely understand if you want to press on and find someone who can give this to you. I was just like, oh
my goodness.
Heartbreaking. I was just, yes, it's heartbreaking. And I completely understand why you said that. But also, like, I just also wanted to reach in and just give you a big hug because it just felt so biological, like, and primal. Like, I am woman, you are man. I give baby, you protect and pay, like, whatever. You're the hunter and gatherer, and I'm like the domestic, this is my job and this is your job. And like, I'm coming short. And of course you weren't. I'm like, of course there's so many other complicated, it's just so primal. Yes. And at the end of the day, look at us in our fancy this and 21st century that, and yes. All your lovely millwork behind you. And at the end of the day, you're just like a cave woman.
Well, and I think that's honestly, that's a really like interesting and kind of challenging piece of infertility, because it's like that primal piece, and like the primal desire was there, but the desire is supposed to be matched by inability, a primal ability. It's like the desire for child should be matched with ability for child, because that's the on the most biological level, and where there's like the desire is there, but the ability is not. There's just this like huge gap. But that primal piece that you can't explain, no amount of like rationalization and like, I'm a progressive thinker, I'm a modern woman, I care about my career, I'm this, that, and whatever. But like, I wanted a fucking baby, I just did. And,
but that you were willing to step aside. Like, who knows how willing, but like, you were like, hey, I get it. And like, you can
I can ruin my own life. I can't live with ruining yours.
Because I understand. Yes. That to me is like the wanting the baby. Yes, that's primal. But like the fact that you were like, you so understood this on this like the deepest of like emotional levels for him, and just biology and man and woman, like, and what we're here to do, that blew me away. Anyway. Okay. This is our lightning round. Okay, so the thing that you and your parenting partner, who we know is Tim, what do you guys fight the most about? What's the parenting thing that you fight the most about?
So you like this?
Mm-hmm. Is it that hard? Oh my gosh.
No, I just keep thinking of things.
I would be on number 15 by now.
I just keep thinking about like things that he does that personally annoy me. I'm like, he hums a lot. That's really, it actually.
That's personal, but that's not a parenting thing.
No, we have like,
rage baiting with my humming.
It feels intentional. We have different ideas about like one of our kids has a lot of anxiety and has a lot of stuff, and we've not been able to like determine the root cause of what that is. And I like go to therapy and like, I want to like solve it and diagnose it and whatever. And Tim like has a very different perspective on it, and it's a stressful situation in our house, and and our differing views on it make it even more so.
I hear you.
Yeah, me too. I hear you on various fronts.
Just curious, was that Hazel?
No.
Oh, okay. Because I just always have like, talk about energy and vibes. Like when you have a baby in the womb and there's like a lot of stressful stuff going on outside of the womb, like in life or whatever. Like I just wonder how that is absorbed into this growing creature.
Okay.
Anyway.
Thanks a lot, Milana. One more thing we can blame on ourselves.
No, I mean, hey, listen, no blame, people. I'm just like, it's life. It's like the yelling and the door slamming. Like, whatever.
All right, I got one. When all the kids are asleep, you fill in the blank.
Oh my gosh. I have a huge bottle of Topo Chico, and that's like it's like there's like certain sparkling waters that are like, casual lunch and dinner sparkling waters, but the Topo Chico is for when everybody's asleep. I mean, this is like if I'm not having a drink, but like,
Oh, okay.
Like this is we also then disagree about what show to watch. Like it's like sit on the couch, and if Tim's like, oh, I'm going to go for a run, I'm like, oh, you are? And then I'm like, yes, I get to watch whatever I want to watch.
I know. There's nothing better than like being the only adult
you and your
house.
own television.
Yes. Okay. What is the children's book you most want to burn?
On the Night You Were Born.
Really? Oh, yes. Yes. The dancing polar bears. That one. I know. It's just like, you're waiting.
It's overrated.
It's overrated. You're waiting for the big reveal, on the night you were born, like this happened.
Well, and also I think like, I feel like that just like we got like 12 copies of it, like, just,
why do people like that?
I don't know. I find it very like smarmy.
Your authors are probably making a killing.
Maybe this can be our last one, number one.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in your mom life, as a mom, what do you want to borrow from your own childhood? And what do you want to do differently?
What I want to do differently is like talk about things and just like have a very open dialogue about feelings and I don't know. I just want there to be a lot of like transparency. I feel like when I grew up in the 80s, no, we just like didn't, I don't know if that was just my family, but like nothing was like talked about. And I want to do that differently. And the thing I want them to, I want to continue is I felt like a great degree of freedom. And that's different. My kids are being raised in the city. So, it doesn't look like it did I grew up in Westchester. But like, kind of like, finding the neighborhood kids and riding bikes and running around and, like staying out till like it started to get dark and like just that like sense of
totally.
Freedom and discovery and exploration and just like, with that, like, I remember what that felt like and how thrilling it was. And however that looks, in Brooklyn, I want my kids to have that.
Amy, I could talk to you all day long. I could talk to you every day. I wish you lived next door because you would be my most, I don't know, you would just be an amazing person just to have in your life every day with all this wisdom and story. Thank you so much for sharing all of it with us today.
Thank you, Amy.
We're
Thank you
grateful.
so much for having me. It was really fun.
whether or not you're woo-woo, you can probably relate to putting a certain energy out into the world at a certain point in your life. In Amy's case, it was like she truly reached a point of accepting that she might not be able to bear a child. And we were both saying how like when we met our husbands, we had like put energy out. So talk about that.
Well, it's, it's like this moment where it's like, you can't fake it and you can't cheat it. Like you have to sort of get there organically and authentically. And it's this moment where you're like, okay, like again, fill in the blank. Like maybe I'll be not married, maybe I'll be not a mom. Maybe I will,
maybe I'm not going to meet my person.
Maybe I'm not going to meet maybe I'm not going to meet my person. Maybe I'll meet a few people, but maybe it won't be the person, whatever it is. But you have to sort of, it's almost like whatever the opposite of your desire is, like for the thing or the picture, you have to go to the opposite of that, which is like the fear of not having it. Right. And it's almost like you have to go towards that fear and really sit with it and sit with it and just say, okay, like this is what it would be. Like I wouldn't have a child. I wouldn't be a mom. And you have to reach an acceptance. You have to arrive at a place of peace.
The thing is, there's the magic of it is there's no way to tell anyone how to reach that peace.
No.
It just somehow happens or doesn't. But
in my experience, when I've reached that peace and like whatever things happen, like it's like almost like it's like something is stuck, like there's like a blockade and it's like almost like releasing, it's reaching that peace clears the blockade and things can happen. Things can move to and from that channel.
And that happened a little bit when you met
It's happened to me with finding jobs. It's happened to me with definitely finding Bob. The night that we really got together and like our relationship that is our relationship now started, I was dragged to a party by my friend. It was a party I wasn't like, I didn't get the invite to, so I was technically crashing, but she's like, come to this party with me. It was the middle of winter. And I was like, I really just kind of want to stay home and watch, Sex and the City and like eat Chinese food. I do not want to go to this party.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather do like 10 other things.
That sounds so good, by the way.
And she was like, we're going. And I was like, fine. And I remember just throwing on clothes and like intentionally not caring like what I was wearing, I was comfortable, with like, I didn't need it. I guess that's the thing is like, I don't need this in order to be whole.
You weren't trying.
I don't need this. Like I'm good in my, 6th floor walk up with, my IKEA couch and and so I went into the night with that kind of energy of like, I'm good. I'm all good. And that was the night we really got together.
Yeah. Yeah. My story is similar. I had been coming off of at least a couple months of like starting to date guys and thinking like, oh, like this guy's great. Like maybe this is going somewhere. Mm-hmm. And the guy like disappearing to such a degree, like it's now known as ghosting young folks. Like
back then it was evaporating.
Yeah. Like to such a degree that I didn't know whether to be like mad or embarrassed or
call
hurt, call 911.
Yes, or call 911 for a wellness check. Yes. Wouldn't that be funny? It's like, sir.
There was like a special like number you could call. Yeah, sir, we got a phone call.
How many of those do you think the actual police get? And they're like, okay, ma'am, we need to have another talk. Okay, ma'am, I think that what we really need to talk about is the fact that he's just not that into you.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, I had been coming off a couple of those and reached a point. I mean, I wouldn't say that I was like, maybe I'm never going to meet my person, but I was definitely like, this is not a time in my life where I'm going to date anyone because it actually is not worth it. And lo and behold, I had a new friend at work and like she randomly, we had never socialized before. And she randomly was like, hey, like I'm going out tonight with this group of guys, like come meet up with us. And similar to what you were describing, I was like, all right, fine. Like whatever.
I'll have one drink.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I went and I met Bird.
The rest is history.
I mean.
The Birdman.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Well,
Good talk.
energy is everything. Woo woo. Thanks for your energy, Bare Nakeds. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Love you. Lots. Bye.